Dubey sir, you can, Dubey sir, you can start now.
Okay, thank you. Uh, Good evening, friends. Today we are going to have a dialogue on theme, what is awareness? This is taken from chapter 27 of the book, The Word Within. It's a little longest conversation Krishji had with somebody, so I'm going to read it out. Please bear with me, and then we can have a dialogue around it, share our understanding. We who came from a long distance asked, what is awareness? And how does one become aware? In answering a question of this kind, it is necessary to find out how the questioner thinks, his background generally. So we talked of his life, the complexities of existence, and its sorrows, and the beauty of the mountains. Awareness comes through clarification and understanding. It is not a thing that you blindly accept, nor is it the product of any authority. It is inherently the outcome and the beginning of self-knowledge. Through self-knowledge, the intensity of the flame of awareness comes into being. Right thinking comes through self-knowledge, and right thinking is the fuel for the intensity and depth of awareness. Without right thinking, there is no clarification, which is not brought about through determination or through the mere exertion of will. For mere will strengthens tendencies, habits, and ignorance, but understanding, clarification comes through right thinking, born of self knowledge. As there is confusion, contradiction in our thought feeling caused by greed, fear, and ignorance, we must bring clarity and understanding through self awareness. This clarity is denied, obscured when there is mere judgment or denial or acceptance, instead of following the thought feeling, instead of thinking feeling out as extensively and deeply as possible. To think out, feel out, there must be self awareness. And this awareness is cut short through judgment. To bring about clarity of understanding, there must be order, the comprehension of consciousness at its different levels, the sensate, the emotional, the intellectual, the physical, the ideal, and the rational. Though each level of consciousness is separate, each is interrelated. To each clarification must be brought, and as each thought feeling arises, follow it out. Think, feel it out. With each clarification of thought feeling, awareness becomes more acute and heightened. Thus, with each thought feeling, when excessively thought out, felt out, awareness becomes expansive, inclusive. With experience, what are the important clues of thought feeling to follow up, and what are not will come? When attention is given to something else, you will find that unconsciously the fluttering of thought feeling are registered, which will project themselves where your attention is focused again. Through extensive clarification and understanding, the mind becomes still in deep awareness. In this silent awareness, feeling arises without cause, a feeling that is not the product of any influence, of any craving. At this feeling, joy, ecstasy arises, and mind leaps upon it to store it up to be enjoyed. Or it says to itself how pleasant this joy is. And thus, in the very tasting of it, in the very enjoyment of it, this ecstasy is stored up in memory to be enjoyed. So the living reality of this immense feeling is lost when the mind clings to its memory, dead and empty. Once again, clarification and understanding of this craving to hold fast to an experience, making it making of it into a habit and encourage a security, but widely and so bringing still deeper and greater awareness of immeasurable silence in which there is the immeasurable love of reality. This awareness, this consciousness is super sensory and super rational. We can think it over and then share our understanding on it. Uh, Harshad Bhai will begin from here and then we'll go to Ravi. So please unmute yourself.
Yeah. Yes. Are you able to hear?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Good evening, friends. This topic of awareness, it brings to my mind that metaphor which is in the Upanishad, that there are two birds sitting on a branch of a tree, and one bird is singing and the other bird is listening. So here it seems to me that the singing bird is like thinking and feeling, and the bird which is listening, that is our awareness. And that awareness is very, very important, it seems to me, because if that bird doesn't exist, suppose that bird flies away, then this bird which is singing, it will become very noisy because of the presence of the other bird, the awareness. This singing bird sings very beautifully, and everything, thinking, feeling, comes out beautifully when there is awareness is there. And without awareness, our thinking becomes very confusing, very chaotic, disorderly. And that is what happens in our life when the awareness is not there, and only thinking and discussing also without awareness, then it becomes very complicated and very difficult to understand. So awareness is the real teaching of Krishnamurti. And he says that when we become curious to look within ourselves, he says, follow each thought and feeling. And when a person is curious and follows one's own thinking, then some clarity comes and understanding of the self comes, then we can really see ourselves as we are. And when we are able to see ourselves as we are without any illusion, then life becomes really very simple, very enjoyable, and we don't create many problems uh, by ignorance, by desire to become, and so many fear, anger, jealousy, all this comes without awareness. But in the light of awareness, all these problems, if they arise, they can be seen at the beginning. And when these problems are seen at the source, then those problems, they don't multiply, they don't become very complicated. And so the real purpose I feel in the whole religious, spiritual, psychological, philosophical field is to have that awareness, choiceless awareness or intelligence, which can look at every thought and feeling clearly. And those thoughts and feelings can go on, but they will go on in a straight line without creating any problem. As long as the awareness, that bird which is listening, the bird which is watching silently, as long as that bird is there, the other bird sings beautifully. Okay, so I have finished whatever I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Harshad Bhai. Thank you. Yes, Ravi, please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening. This is one of the gem chapter. I do feel every paragraph is like saying something. So I think we should go paragraph by paragraph. And in the second paragraph, he talks about the background of the person. So that is my approach as well, that before answering anything, we should know the background of the person, his thinking, and what does he do. Then only we can answer the question. So I think Krishnamurti is responding to that background. The third paragraph says about this awareness, and that awareness he clarifies that it comes from the self knowledge. Self knowledge brings right thinking brings intensity, clarification, and understanding, and then comes the awareness. So awareness is the byproduct of the self knowledge. And what is the tool? My question is, what is the tool of the self knowledge? Because by effort we cannot be aware, and as Arshadji says that awareness is a tool, but it's as per this chapter, awareness is a byproduct of the self knowledge, third or fourth product result of the self knowledge. And the third question is, what is the difference between self knowledge, self awareness, and self knowing? As far as I do understand, self knowledge is the past memory about yourself, and self awareness I do not know, and self knowing is knowing yourself in the moment. That is my understanding. I will come back with another question later on. Thank you.
May I correct what Ravi said,
Yes, please.
that awareness is not a tool, but it is a byproduct. And when we are very curious to look at every thought and feeling which arises, because generally our mind goes in collecting knowledge, and even this understanding paragraph by paragraph, I don't think that is a kind of a intellectual understanding. It seems to me that just like we study history, geography, similarly we study Krishnamurti, but that is the intellectual understanding. The real understanding comes when we become curious without any motive to look what is happening within us, because there are so many things going on throughout the day, and even at night something is going on. And so when we become curious to look within, and then when we are able to see clearly whatever is happening, then this awareness comes into uh, comes into action, and then self knowledge comes out of that looking. And then even if somebody says something very unpleasant to us, we can listen to that unpleasant remark, and we can respond adequately with this awareness. So awareness, awakening of awareness is comes through looking within us without any motive, just out of curiosity. Okay, I have finished. Thank you.
I would like to correct myself, means the what you got it from my saying that I'm not saying the awareness is the tool. I said that what is the tool for the self knowledge, because he said that after self knowledge you will get the awareness, and as per you, awareness is the tool to get the self knowledge. So it's quite contradicting. I'm not able to understand it.
Mhm. No, I did not say awareness is a tool, but it comes as a byproduct when we are interested in looking what is happening within us. Okay, I finish.
I think let's not follow, let's not stick to the words. I think it's important to know ourselves without any motive, without evaluation. Can we do that? That is important. That is the beginning of self-knowledge. So once the mind is in a state where it can see things clearly without any measurement, any evaluation, that is the beginning of self-knowledge, of knowing about itself. It's not, it has nothing to do with memory, as you mentioned, because then it becomes knowledge. And self-knowledge, even though there is the word knowledge in it, it's really not knowledge. It's seeing from moment to moment. I just wanted to make this clarification. Yes, Dinesh.
Can you give me 7 minutes so that I can share the knowledge from the tradition?
Yes, yes, please go ahead.
Okay. Sir, basically, what traditional knowledge says, particularly of Vedanta and this thing, basically, we do not know actually what awareness is. However, it seems to be a feature of life force energy, which gives experience to all living beings that they are alive. In case of humans, it gives rise to mind. The primary movement, a sort of static of it, gives mind experience that it exists. The secondary movement of it gives experience of the world, things, etc., that they exist. So it is the platform of substratum on which one experiences that he exists. Number two, say tree exists or say no tree exists. If he sees tree, he gets experience that tree exists. When he does not see tree, he gets experience that no tree exists. Now comes the recording mechanism of mind, which records and keeps data in memory, to which JK is referred as observer. So, for all practical purposes, the thought world of a person can be said to be observer. This is my understanding. In my understanding, what JK intends to say that above mentioned primary and secondary movements of awareness are choiceless in actuality, and all thought movements are mere recordings or description of describe. The thought world has its own utility, but it is not actuality. However, ignorant mind gets trapped in illusion of understanding his thought reality as actuality. If mind gives attention to choiceless awareness, state of being, then it can remain free. So basically what Panchadashi and other Vedantic tradition says, that this awareness is basically a feature of your life force energy, which is the substratum on which there are two kinds of experiences you register. One, your existence, that I exist, and another, the existence of tree. So one is the existence of the tree as well as your existence of you. Both these primary experiences are the basically they call it as awareness, which is the substratum. And on this, then the recording and other mechanism, and then it comes into the picture. It's what their standpoint of view. So now here also indirectly what JK is trying to say, that if you leave aside all this, your thinking process, and you brush it aside, then whatever you get is the base awareness. This is what my views are. Thank you.
Thank you.
May I make a comment?
Yes, please.
Yeah. If we try to understand Krishnamurti or Vedanta philosophy, then we may get confused. But if the understanding comes from our own observation, then we can, there is no confusion. We can see clearly, because the most important thing is to see ourselves as we are. And if a person is able to see himself clearly, while it is something is happening, whether it is a fear or anger or jealousy or some joy, if that can be seen clearly without any judgment, then whatever is seen, that doesn't create any problem. Things come and like thoughts, feelings, happiness, unhappiness, whatever, everything is moving, and there is nothing static. And our mind is continuously changing from one thought to another thought. And this awareness can see this every thought and feeling, just like the colors changing on the soap bubble. If you have looked at a soap bubble, how while it is expanding, the colors are continuously changing. Our mind is like that. And so our mind is continuously changing with thoughts, feelings. And when we become very curious to look at our own mind, as children are interested in looking at the soap bubble, then that looking becomes kind of a source of learning, and it becomes an entertainment also. So it is like a film going on within us. But if we are not able to do that, then we watch the films made by other people, and we find those films very entertaining. And those films may be full of violence and sex and everything. And that is what is happening, that human beings, they haven't found a real source of learning, looking, entertainment within themselves. So everything else which is outside becomes very, very important. And so important thing I feel what Krishnamurti is trying to do is to awaken that curiosity in us, so that we can look ourselves and then speak from our own understanding. And we can even also, Krishnamurti says, throw away all the books, knowledge which you have gathered from Krishnamurti or from Vedanta, and speak from your own living. How do you live? Okay, so I have finished.
Thank you, Harshad bhai. Before I ask Durga ji and then Dinesh ji to respond, I want to mention that there is nothing wrong in reading Vedantic text if that gives you the intellectual understanding of what Krishna is talking about. Samdong Rinpoche ji is on record saying that there are many Buddhist scholars who used to tell him that, you know, the Buddhism got, they got clarity of what the Buddhism is after reading Krishna. So, I mean, the intellectual understanding may come from any ways, different ways. But I think it's important, Dinesh ji, to have that clarity within ourselves, knowing ourselves. And for that, I slightly beg to disagree with Harshad bhai that we should throw all knowledge. I think Krishna has not denied knowledge. He has pointed out the limitations of knowledge. We know that knowledge can take us to a certain level, and beyond that, we'll have to leave all that to find out what is truth. So that is something I wanted to point out. And there are many paths. So let's not say that what Krishna says is the only way of doing it. There are many sages who have who have talked about it, and there are quite a bit similarities between the Upanishad and Vedanta and so on into what Krishna says. But what Krishna says is from his own personal perception. He has not read any scriptures or any book, but he has experienced that. He has first-hand experience of what he's talking about. That's the life he lived. And it makes lots of sense to us. For example, if you start observing yourself without evaluation, any small thing in your daily life, and see what happens to you. If without evaluation you can see that, it changes. It's so real. So this is what I wanted to say. We'll hear Durga ji first and then to Dinesh ji. Yes, Durga ji, please go ahead.
Hi, hello, sir. Good evening, sir. Yeah, I hope I'm audible, sir.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sir, I think like, the previous speaker, I think Mr. Ravi who said, I also felt the text was very weighty text. The text we got from World Within. It has so many aspects of it, the self-knowledge, right thinking, understanding. I know it's very weighty. And we need to understand that, for all that, awareness is the beginning and awareness maybe is the ending. So then I thought, let me just read his other texts, which deal with awareness. And I have taken the very basic text, the so-called basic text from the urgency of change. And I just want to begin with few points, and from there, I just want to highlight those few points. This is the chapter from urgency of change on awareness. And as usual, mostly I read from the, whenever we read Krishnaji's text, of course, the beginning is very important, the middle is important, but we get the crux and the real weighty things, in the end of the chapters. That's I have realized over a period of time. So these the points which I'm going to read, they are kind of formed from the last paragraphs. And here, actually, whenever Krishnaji says about awareness, he always says about the tree, the perception of the tree, the awareness of the tree. So I just will read few sentences. There is the tree and the conditioned response to the tree. It is the me in relationship. The me who is the very center of conflict. Now, is it this me who is asking the question? This me who, as we have said, is a very structure of the past. If the question is not asked from the structure of the past, if the question is not asked by me, then there is no structure of the past. When the structure is asking the question, it is operating in relationship to the fact of itself. It is frightened of itself and it acts to escape from itself. So he is saying something about the structure of me, and he is trying to say about the escape. I think so far, I don't know whether we have dealt with this aspect of escape, which is a very fundamental concept of the teaching. Because when we don't want to face the fact, we try to make so many ways to escape from the very facts. And actually, there is no way one can point out to others. One has to find out all these things in oneself. So he's brought it escape here. It is not asking in relation to itself. To recapitulate, there is a tree, there is a bird, the response to the tree, which is the sensor or the me, which comes from the past. And then there is a question, can I escape from all this turmoil and agony? If the me is asking this question, it is perpetuating itself. So everywhere it is the me, the observer, the so-called observer, which needs to be studied, which needs to be, you have to go, one has to go into, and that can happen only when one is completely, acutely aware of all these things. Now, being aware of that, it doesn't ask the question. Being aware and seeing all the implications of it, the question cannot be asked. It does not ask a question at all because it sees a trap. Now, do you see that all this awareness is superficial? It is the same as the awareness which sees the tree. And there is one more point here. On that bank, and he says again, you were asking the question from this side of the river, or is it from the other bank? He's also saying about the river and the two banks, whether, and he's not making any denominations, who is in the other side, this side of the bank, who is on the other side of the bank. Krishnaji uses all these expressions randomly, and maybe there must be some reason, and he never gives any valid points. Who is there, who is not there. Maybe our minds keep working on all these things. This side of the bank, on the other side of the bank is another thing that has come here. We will not ask this question. If you're on that bank, your action will be from that bank. So there is an awareness of this bank with all its structure, its nature, and all its traps. So the structure of me, the traps and escapes. See, this point is very valid. The structure, nature, and all its traps. So only when the awareness has gone so deep into all these aspects of the structure, nature, and the traps, how the observer, the thought plays tricks on oneself, when only one has seen so deeply into it. So when all these things are understood, and therefore there is a negation of all traps, then the negation also comes. So the mind is now empty. It is empty of the me and of the trap. This mind has a different quality, a different dimension of awareness. This awareness is not aware that it is aware. So these are very simple light points, but it has got valuable additions to it. That means one needs to be aware of the structure, the nature of the traps. The traps, how the me and the thought plays on oneself. And so he says, this new quality of awareness is attention. And in this attention, there is no frontier made by the me. This attention is the highest form of virtue, therefore it is love. From awareness, he brings it to attention. And that happens, that becomes possible when one goes deeply into oneself. Maybe that day starts a self-knowledge and right thinking, because life is action. You just can't sit in idle in one room and before the sitting before your laptops and you can keep discussing. You have to see this in your day-to-day life. I think that's the very crux of the matter. When all these things are being laid out, and he says awareness is in the beginning and is also in the end. So I think then it becomes maybe choiceless awareness. I just wanted to contribute these points, sir. Thank you.
Are you able to listen to me, sir?
Yeah. Yes.
What I wanted to say, Harshad sir,
Mm.
that basically whatever I am speaking, I have also done working on it. And we have to understand one thing, that what is our subtlest instrument available to us? That is experiencing. Anytime, say, fear is arised, or fear, as and when the fear arises, we cannot look at it or we cannot see to it, because it is not covered under any sense. Once it is generated, it is a sort of vibration or an experiencing. We know what fear is. It cannot neither be seen, nor be heard, nor be tasted, and any sense cannot do about it. So whenever we say in बोलचाल की भाषा में हम जो बोलते हैं, that is okay. Can you see it? But actually you have to be experiencing it. Actually you will be experiencing it, and you have to remain with it. So that fear, when you are remaining with it, so that is basically an experiencing at that time, at that particular moment. And when that experiencing is over, then what remains? So on what platform that experiencing of fear is appearing and again disappearing. So that base platform, I meant to say, is the base awareness, which is saying that it is choiceless awareness. If you remain with it, then whatever that base awareness is polluted by, say, fear or by, say, greed. This another energy is created and it pollutes it, the base awareness. Now, what is that base awareness? If you remain, one can remain with it, then that quality of mind which is talking, that silence which is talking, that can come into picture. That's what I wanted to say. What do you want to say on this?
Yeah, I like to give an example. Suppose you are driving a car on the road and there is a lot of traffic there. And if you lose that awareness for even 2-3 seconds, accident can happen on the road. Similarly, when this awareness is not there, a fear arises and it creates lots of complications. When there is awareness is not there, but the that ongoing effortless awareness exists, then it can look at the fear at its root, and then it doesn't create any complications. So sometimes I consider that our mind is like a spider. It's weaving a web of thoughts, feelings, and it gets caught in the thinking and feeling. But the real spider, it doesn't get caught in its own web. So only when there is an ongoing, effortless awareness is there, then this thinking, feeling, they don't create any problem. They don't create any complications. And we can see that, yes, it is there. What you say, remaining with it, that remaining with whatever is happening, that is the awareness. And that is not common. Generally, it is not there. And that's why so many problems exist. We get very upset. Somebody says something and we react very quickly because that looking is not there. But when there is a looking is there, awareness, then we can listen to pleasure and pain both. Somebody saying something good about it, or somebody says something bad about it, we will not find any difference because we can really see what is true, you know. And the way Krishnamurti learned was from direct looking within himself. And that is possible for us too. When we are really become curious about our inner world, then we can learn in the same way Krishnaji has learned. And then we don't need to read Krishnamurti's article paragraph by paragraph, line by line, trying to understand. I consider that kind of learning as an intellectual learning, and we can understand all the concepts by reading and discussing, but it may not really affect our life at a deeper level. So we can go directly to our own mind and look what is happening. And that is very interesting. That is what I find. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Harshad. Yes, Ravi wants to say something. Yes.
Yeah, actually, for last almost 3 weeks, I'm working on the self-knowledge. So I'm not able to look at myself. That's why I'm insisting that on that question, what is the tool to the self-knowledge? Because awareness is not the tool, and it's a byproduct of the self-knowledge. So I have to concentrate on the self-knowledge. And to be aware about the self-knowledge, what is the tool is available for me? The second question is, what is the difference between thought feeling and thinking feeling? Are they same or different? If they are same, then what is the meaning of those things? Thank you.
Mhm.
Can I ask a question, Ravi? You said you have been working on self-knowledge from last 3 weeks. Would you explain what this working on it means?
I I was trying to look at myself, my thought, which was very fluid and in movement. And whenever I try to look at it, either I am silent or suddenly I am gone with the thought. So I am not able to look at it thought by thought, when it's beginning, when it's ending, when it's starting another thought. So as soon as the thought start, or as soon as I lost my awareness, I become the thought.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Rama Rao, please go ahead.
Sir, I was a bit thinking about this. What while you are reading the text, you mentioned about beyond sensory, supernatural. What is that? If it is there, If it is there, or if it is there, if it is there, if it is not there, if it is not there, it is behind us. What we can do with that? This is the addition of that. Please kindly throw some light on that.
Yeah. May I say something?
Yes, please.
This super sensory and super rational, that we can understand only when there is the freedom and the silent awareness without all this content, thinking, feeling. When they are not there and there's a pure awareness, then there may be a kind of connection with that energy or what a super sensory world. We can see everything in a different way than our normal way through thinking and trying to understand. So that comes only when there is a freedom, I feel. That comes to last because Krishnaji talked about it at the end, super sensory and super rational. When there's a clarity, when there's a self-knowledge, when there's an ongoing effortless awareness, there's a pure awareness, then those things can be felt, I think. Okay, I finish.
Mr. Maheshwari ji,
Darshan Bhai's audio.
Mr. Maheshwari ji, can you click something on that?
Where is Maheshwari? I think Maheshwari is not here, Mr. Rama Rao.
Rama Rao ji, are you talking to me, sir? Rama Rao ji?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, I don't have to say anything to it. Basically, I only want to add one thing from my side. As he has used the word thought feeling, in which feeling is very important for me. That I think that feeling is the most important part, which is generated after the sensation itself. And that has to be taken into consideration in all the self-knowing and all that. Only I have to add to it.
Sir, Pradeep Verma ji is waiting to say something.
Yes.
Would you please allow him, please?
Yes.
Pradeep Verma ji.
Unmute yourself. Yes.
Audible, sir? Audible?
Yes, yes. Yeah.
Going through the text, I could see the confluence of three rivers of consciousness.
Verma sir, your voice is echoing. I think
Yeah.
some problem with the audio.
The question,
I think the internet signal is not good.
Yes, you have some problem with the audio. Try and correct it. We'll come back after hearing Pradeep ji and Shakti ji and then Dinesh ji. Yes, Pradeep ji, please go ahead.
I don't
There
know.
are two Pradeeps whom are you saying?
अपना
I think-
वीडियो खत्म कर दें. First,
I think
first
Pradeep,
end the video. Just let it be audio only. Please, Pradeep ji, let it be audio only.
Okay. Is it better now?
yes, it is.
Yes.
Little better?
Yes.
Yes.
So what I have to say is how I see it. Going through the text, I could see the confluence of three rivers of consciousness: the questioner, the responder, and the reader. That is me. Even as far as decades ago, Krishnamurti was responding to the level of understanding the questioner had. Krishnamurti apparently dives deeply into the questioner's consciousness to see the structure and its expanse, whether he has any space for the beauty of the mountains also. Now, a person who has no idea of awareness, even of the awareness he carried all through his life, that is sensate awareness, gets a package of closely linked, often used words like self-knowledge and knowing, understanding, order, flame of awareness, right thinking, authority, etc., etc. We ourselves are struggling with these words even today after almost 8 decades of this dialogue. Unfortunately, what happened to the questioner and his quest for awareness and to become aware is not known. We are reading this after almost 8 decades. Now, to know myself, I do not need any words. To know myself, I do not need any words. So may be the case with everyone. This type of situation develops this dialogue. This happens when to know anything living, I approach an authority. This may be called awareness, if you like. Life demands moment-to-moment awareness, and even one word is enough to disturb that. Then he talks of sensitivity. Sensitivity is highly variable in human beings. You see, we are demanding immeasurable silence through discussions. We are demanding super sensitivity and rationality through established rational societies. So the real question is, when awareness is natural in us, it is not something which requires some sort of exercise, but somehow we give awareness a different, some special meaning, then it becomes difficult. Self-awareness, if I am interested in seeing myself, my thoughts, my body, watching my body and my thoughts, and ready to see them as such with no judgment, then that is awareness. You may call it choiceless awareness or whatever it may be. But it's not a difficult thing. Awareness is a must for every one of us. So, well, how it has become a question and how so many words have come around it, they are mostly the words around self, the limited self. So does it help bringing that peace which we are talking about, that peace in which a person will be able to see things as they are? This is my simple question. Thank you very much for giving me space and time.
Pradeep ji, your simple question is very difficult anyway. So it's my chance to enter. This topic of awareness is very dear to me right now. So my awareness right now is I was listening for last 45 minutes, various themes came up, and the desire arose in Pradeep that he should also mark his attendance and say something valuable for himself and others. So this is the awareness from which this drive came, that Pradeep should raise his hand and say something. So Pradeep is aware that this is the drive he is coming from right now. Ravi, you asked this question that I am trying for 3 weeks or 3 months of becoming awareness, but I am not becoming aware or knowledgeable, whatever it was. But you are aware you are not becoming aware right now. You are aware that you don't know. You are aware right now, and therefore you are asking. So awareness is happening right now also. You can't say you're not aware. So in this theme, I want to say that thousands of behavioral processes are happening right now within Pradeep and within this group right now also, about which many of us are totally ignorant that this is happening. But at the same time, we are being driven from that. So there is a larger awareness of see, the basic ignorance from which Pradeep is operating is that he is confusing that Pradeep is a concept and he believes no, Pradeep is a reality. It is a construct, it is a thought. And when that ignorance is operating, when that awareness is not there, so Pradeep is immersed in his fantasy world of whatever ego illusion keeps building. So he's living in that illusion and he doesn't know he's living in that illusion. So there's a lack of awareness. So the first shell to be broken through awareness, which breaks, not broken, which breaks is when the intense awareness is there, there's a realization that this Pradeep does not exist. It is just a construct. It's a mental thing. And when that drops, then all the energy which is going in the desires of Pradeep, in his desire to look smart, to attract women, to make money, to earn fame, whatever those nonsense, whatever those desires of ego. So his energy is freed, and therefore he's free to look at whatever is happening in the here and now. So awareness is the ultimate thing which will free Pradeep from himself. And when that happens in the right now, in the here and now, whatever is happening, he's looking at it. He is not choosing that he should think about making him big or making him small or inferiority or big. So he's free. Actually, he's not free. He's not there. There is only free. So awareness is actually extremely great. Thank you.
Thank you, Pradeep. Shakti ji, please go.
Pradeep was curious to know, was it very difficult to understand, or he was able to make others understand? Was it too difficult, or people did connect with what he said? He's curious to know.
I think you made your point, except your audio was a little bad in the end.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
my voice is reaching, sir. Is the internet is not stable here? Yeah. You see, one thing which I would like to share is this. Sometimes we tend to think that self-knowing or self-knowledge is concentrating on self. It is not self-concentration, because if we are focused on self and excluding other things, then it is a very different trajectory. Whereas we watch thought, we watch feelings, we watch the outside world, and we watch what is, and we watch that how eager we are to escape from what is. And what happens when there is continuous unawareness, continuous inattention, and in that we are all the time running away from what is. So this question is very important, that first, is it possible to stay with what is? Second question is, if it is possible, what is it that prevents us? And the last thing is that this question which comes again and again, that there is a fragmentation. I can see it very clearly within me, that suddenly I become interested in experimenting with these things. Suddenly I lose the interest. So for reigniting that interest, maybe reading Krishnamurti, it helps a lot about it. And in this chapter, he talks about right thinking also. I don't know what is right thinking, because he says right thinking is the outcome of awareness. But one thing is sure, that when there is no awareness, the thinking is not right. Because we ourselves can see this very well, that today I have thought something, then tomorrow I will think that no, this was not the right way to think. So it is a challenge to experiment as much as one can, and in that perhaps to understand Krishnamurti, what he is saying, it helps.
I think Shakti is finished his talk. Yes. Anandji, please go ahead.
Yes, sir. I mean, I think I'll be repeating what Mr. Shakti already said. I mean, my awareness is conditioned by my accumulation. Can I see that? When I say I'm aware, I am conditioned by my own accumulation, what happened in my life, my past, my conditioning. Krishnamurti is talking about awareness in which there is watchfulness, in which I have no choice but to remain with what is. That is very essential. I think Shakti ji also said the same thing. I'm repeating the same thing, sir. So he's talking about awareness in which there is watchfulness, where there is no choice. It's choiceless awareness, and that is to remain with what is. Over, sir. That is all I have to say.
Yes, Durga ji, please go ahead.
Yes, sir. I just have to make I just want to contribute one odd points. As a previous speaker, I think Ravi especially, he was saying that, self-knowledge within, he's been observing himself for 3 weeks or something like that. I just want to respond. I feel Krishnaji says it's observing oneself. I think that continues as long as one is alive. It's the entire span of one's life. And once it sets in, it has to go on. And he says self-knowledge is an endless river. And he also says in this chapter, one needs to understand the background from which one has to hear. He says, how the questioner thinks, his background generally. So we talked of his life, the complexities of existence and its sorrows. So he is asking about the totality of life itself. It's not about observing yourself vis-a-vis the world outside you, the relationships, your job, why you have chosen the job, your relation, everything in it, it's all included. That's what I feel, sir. And it keeps growing. It's not that it's a static movement. Once you have seen one point and there's the end of it. That's what I feel, sir. And he says it's an endless river. It goes on, but provided one is exploring. Once when you are so certain about your own self, so certain about you come out with a lot of assertions. When we come out with assertions or opinions or conclusions, then that means the mind has become, you can say, one is stuck there. Maybe he says it's like a ever flowing river. When our mind comes to that kind of a static position, we are not learning anything. We are not open to anything. But I feel Krishnamurti's teaching is much more vaster than, much more expansive than, only getting stuck with I, me, myself. Only when one understands the structure of me, one understands the I, me, myself, when one gets liberated from there, then only the real exploration, understanding or discovery starts. I think, and he says it's one unitary movement. So I feel just to limit him for a few areas and coming out with a lot of certainties, a lot of answers, I feel one is blocking oneself. One is not open to other viewpoint, learning, and he says it's a lifelong learning. Unless and until we are open to learning, maybe we remain in our own mind. We remain in our own assertions and conclusions, whatever the previous knowledge we feel we have gathered, and we feel that we have understood everything. I feel that's maybe there's another trap one is finding oneself into. That's all I have to contribute, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Durga. I think very rightly said. There is no goal to be reached. So it's an endless process. I agree. Mr. Rajendran has raised a point before I go to Devesh ji. He says that is not knowledge a barrier to see the truth? Is not all knowledge a prerequisite to see, observe oneself? Does not our dependence upon others' knowledge so far made us all a second-hand human being? So why don't we throw away all the books, as Harshad Bhai has said? Sir, it's very difficult to agree or disagree with what you're saying, but the best thing would be to try and see it ourselves. People who are very knowledgeable, they also suffer from the disorders that we all face who are less knowledgeable. So knowledge doesn't lead us anyway. You shouldn't have knowledge at all. Yes, Harshad Bhai, please.
Yes, I think we can throw away the books of Krishnamurti or Vedant only when we feel that we are able to look whatever is happening without any motive, and we can see clearly whatever is going on. Yes, I wanted to say about tools which Ravi was talking about. Like when a scientist, he is very curious about what is happening within an atom, and the atom cannot be seen, but still he concentrates whole his mind energy in understanding what is happening within the atom. And the scientists have been able to go very deep into the nucleus of the atom, and they are able to release tremendous amount of energy, nuclear energy. Similarly, when a person is very, very curious and has a lot of energy, curiosity, intensity, honesty to look within himself, then the way Krishnamurti learned about the whole human mind, we can also learn about the whole human mind by looking within. And I was not able to look by myself, I agree. But after I started reading little bit of Krishnamurti, and then I begin to look within myself, and I said, yes, what he says is true. And then when it is really helping you, whatever you are able to look within, and you can feel, only you can say whether it is helping you or not. And when you feel that, yes, you are able to look clearly and it is helping you in looking at the world and looking within, then you don't need any book of Krishnamurti. Only then. And also Krishnamurti says, once you have looked into the mirror, then you can break the mirror and you can throw away the book. It's possible only when there is an ongoing, effortless, choiceless awareness going on within us. And in that, even when we are escaping from something, we can even see that there is an escape going on. So one doesn't say that there should not be any escape, because that escape is also what is. So what is going on and moving with it. In that there is no conflict. And then one doesn't say that there should be no escape. So this is a real understanding that moving with what is without what should be, in that there is no conflict, no waste of energy, and everything is unfolding what is without any problem. Okay, I have finished.
Thank you, Harshad bhai. I think, Ravi, if you can really call it a tool, it would perhaps be a deep sense of inquiry within, where I'm going to put up, all my energy, and it's an open-ended inquiry. I'm not trying to reach anywhere, but the desire to know, just for the sake of knowing, that could be the tool. Yes, Dinesh ji, please go ahead, Dinesh Waghmare.
I want to explore this word awareness. Can there be any thought without awareness? Or Krishnamurti is using this word, not aware, as only the partial for the partial awareness. Say, for example, one is absorbed in thought, or he is totally lost in the content of the thought. So to that he is saying he is not aware. But otherwise, is he referring to this exclusion or what? Because without awareness, can there be any thought? Harshad sir.
Yes, awareness, thinking can happen in the background of awareness, but and that kind of thinking where there is awareness, that thinking moves straight, is the right thinking. But when that awareness is not there, then the thinking can multiply and create conflict between what is and what should be. All that happens when there is no awareness. Otherwise, thinking can move straight.
So when we refer that
Yeah.
this awareness is not there, means we are talking of partial awareness, which is going along with the thought only.
I don't know of any partial awareness, but I'll say that.
Are we together, sir?
I think
are we together?
On this point, we can all be together that awareness can also watch thought. There's no denying it, because thought is not interfering with the awareness.
But they are not. Are they separate things, sir?
Certainly, if there is thinking per se, how can there be awareness? It can start with thought, but it will not end up in thought. Then there will be no awareness. That's purely intellectual understanding. Then there's no awareness. That's the way I look at it.
Sir.
Yeah.
I
give one metaphor.
What I understand from Dubey sir's statement, that awareness is product of thought.
No. I didn't say that. You are interpreting it in your own way. I didn't say that.
So I want clarity on that, sir.
But you have spoken so much from Vedanta. What clarity you need? It will never be a clarity so long you ride on two boats.
I'm open, sir. I'm open. I'm not stuck up with any Vedanta or even Krishna.
Why don't you look at?
Find out.
I think we have to look at ourselves. Just try and bring all your energy.
My understanding is at the background.
Sir, let Anand may come, please.
Okay.
Anand.
So when we say awareness, sir, there is thought. Thought is in the right place. It doesn't react. It doesn't respond. It is there. Awareness is in time. Attention is of time. So when thought is in the right place, there is awareness. There's no reaction to that. So that is very essential for all of us to understand. And when I say look, again, I look at things which I like. I don't look at things which I don't like, which is ugly, which is painful. I never look at that. So when we say look, I need to understand. I'm looking, yes. I mean, I want to see only things what I want to see. Avoid all the painful ones. I want to be in comfort zone all the time. I don't want to move out of it. Even for most of us here, when we talk about looking, we only see what we like. If something's ugly, which is painful, I immediately react to it. I say it should not be there. So can I observe that is very essential? Over, sir. With that,
Yeah. May I say something?
Yes, please.
Yes, I give a metaphor like there are many people walking in a room and the room is very dark and these people are colliding with each other. Then somebody comes and turns on the light and now these people, they will not collide because there is a light. So awareness is like that light in which thoughts, they move, they don't collide, they don't create what should be and conflict. But without that awareness, thoughts create many problems and many problems are created in life of human beings only because that light is not there. And then my opinion against your opinion and arguments and everything starts when there is no awareness. Otherwise, there is a listening, a real listening happens in awareness. And then one can respond very clearly. So, yes, beauty and ugliness exist everywhere. But when we see something which is ugly, then there is a possibility that maybe we can do something about it. Like recently I was in Rajghat school and the main road, which is very full of very bad, and people are moving their vehicles and they feel a lot of jerk, but nobody is thinking that we can really do something about this road, we can repair it, we can ask the government if we don't have money. So I really wrote to the Prime Minister's office and also the chief engineer of PWD department in Varanasi came. I talked with him whether we do something about this road. So we don't get very upset but we can do something when there is a smoke coming out from a chimney. We can probably stop if we are interested in doing something. So beauty and ugliness exist, but a person who is aware can do something about it. And Krishnaji was also asking Mr. Narayan in Rishi Valley, look, that glass window is broken. Why don't you repair it? People are walking and they don't see it. But when a person who has awareness can see everything, if a window is broken, he will not just pass by saying that, okay, so Krishnaji would ask question and will say, why don't you get it repaired? So when there is awareness, we see much more, but without any disturbance. Okay, thank you.
So can I come in here, sir?
Yes, please.
So when I can see that which gives me pleasure and that gives me pain without reacting to both of that. The moment I react, I say, I love this pleasure, I'm back to my condition. Similarly, with pain or something which is ugly, when I say that should not be on the road, immediately there's a reaction. Can I observe my reaction to the question? I can analyze it. I can justify it. I can say I've taken action because it's something there on the road. But that reaction is moving away from what is. To understand what is, I need to remain with what is. So out of that, there is action. But when I see something, I say it should not be on the road. I have to do something about it. I have moved away from it. So when I observe the beauty and the ugly without any reaction, that is what it is. The moment I react, I'm back to my condition. That is very essential for me to understand that, sir.
Responding is different than reacting.
So responding and reaction are both more or less the same, sir. I mean, I may respond without hurting anyone or saying something very politely and lightly. Reaction may be, I get angry and upset, I react. But both are same. Respond and react. Then I'm not watching it. When I watch, that's all there is. Perception. Out of perception, there's action. The moment I say I should do right to somebody, I have moved away from it. That is what it is, sir.
I've lost my video, so I'm not able to see anybody. But I can talk.
Okay.
We are there, sir. We are all here.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say that reacting is a kind of disturbance, but responding is doing the right thing without getting upset about it.
Sir, that is what I say. I'm an intelligent human being. I'm very understanding human being. I should not get angry. I will respond. You know, I mean, I shouldn't be reacting. That is what my conditioning is. Can I observe that?
If there is a
They
conditioning,
say,
then it is very difficult. Yeah.
absolutely. They say you should be a good person. If I get
Right.
angry, it says you should not be getting angry. You're a bad person. So I tell them very politely, very nicely. I said, you should learn. You should not do like this. You should do like this. That is again the respond and reaction of both say more or less. That's not the right. It's my conditioning which is playing a role. Can I observe that is what is essential. Whether it is ugly or beautiful, sir, I mean, can I observe that? When I say that ugly should not be there, I'm back to my conditioning.
Yes.
The moment I say beautiful and ugly, again I'm back to my conditioning. Can I observe that? That's all there is. I'm putting in words when I say beauty or ugly. Can I go beyond those words? I just observe one which gives me pleasure and I don't respond to pleasure. That is the joy. There is something beautiful, there's joy in me. I immediately say I want more of it. That makes it pleasure. I'm back to my conditioning. So observing the beauty and the ugly without any responding to it or reacting to it, that is what it is. That is what is. Oh, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Both responding and reacting are what is. But there's a difference between the two.
I think no.
Yeah.
Anand,
We're getting caught in words, I would say.
Yes, we are caught in words. But normally
In words,
responding
yeah.
means when you have considered something deeply and then out of that there is a response. And reaction
That's
is instantaneous,
Yeah.
where you have really
That's right.
not gone into it deeply and all that. That's what normally it means.
That is what it
Shakti,
is.
you
Generally,
also
we
said-
understand, sir. Yeah.
Yes. Shakti ji, please go ahead. Unmute yourself.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I just wanted about what Dinesh ji was talking about, awareness and thought. It's not an answer. It's just sharing one aspect of the same question, maybe an extension. You see, usually thought is a hindrance to awareness. When Krishnamurti says, don't justify or don't condemn, all these things, there he's talking about non-interference of thought, because how do I justify? I justify through thought. So that is one aspect of thought. At the same time, a person who is aware, he will not lose the capacity to think. So thinking can be in the light of awareness also. And thinking can be an impediment to awareness. Just this I wanted to share. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yes, Durga ji, please unmute yourself.
Yes, sir. Sir, just a few, maybe the basic fundamentals I just would like to bring clarification to myself and vis-a-vis, communicate to the others. I feel in awareness, thoughts arise and thinking happens. That's what I have to say. Because awareness is there all the time. It's if either it is there or it is not there. Awareness actually, if you see in generalized terms, it is a simple process. I don't know how many people are really aware, or is it really happens after reading Krishnamurti? I'm not sure, but awareness is always there. You are aware of all these things. We use aware in a very common and in general terms also. So in awareness, if one has ability to see thoughts arising and thinking happens, maybe that may be the contribution of Krishnaji. That's what I want to clear, sir. And second thing is, there is a difference between response and reaction. And awareness and attention, I feel they're not of time. Again and again, Krishnaji clarifies, attention is not of time. Attention, if awareness is deepened and one start attending to things, he says it's a virtue and it is not of time. And when one is doing, then how can, if we just see the things and if we just see the reactions, that's okay. But life is action also, you have to act. And when one is acting, like, the previous speakers, they say, you see something on the road and you feel you need to attend to it. And that time you feel, okay, let me do my bit. That's that's how the action comes. Maybe one sees the objectivity of it, see the action getting completed. But the problem comes when one, starts cashing on that action, when one's making that to strengthen one's me, and that is the problem. I feel that is a trap. You see the action, you see the right thing you have to do, and you do it and just move on. Rather than, our thoughts and our me, what does it do? It keeps getting strengthened by taking all that into account, that keeping a storage of it. Then the me gets strengthened. Okay, I did that. I am this, which is exactly what Krishnaji says is a trap, is what one has to be completely aware of it. That's all I have to say, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we'll take the last comment from Anandji. Please go ahead.
So, when Kate talks about choiceless awareness, sir. Out of choiceless awareness, there's attention. Attention means to stretch out to capture. That is still in time. Out of that, there is perception, which is not of time. In the perception is action. So we need to understand. These have been they are put in words. We have to go beyond these words. When he talks about choiceless awareness, attention, perception. So whether it's of time, we can debate on these things, sir, and what case that we interpret that, and we come with our own analysis and things like that. But attention is of time. It is trying to capture something which is out there, which is in time. Perception is not of time. So that is what he has spoken about. I thought I will clarify on that. Choiceless awareness, attention, and perception. Over, sir.
Sir, please announce Sunday's lecture, because it is at 6 p.m.
It's 6 or 6:30, I don't know.
6. I remember, sir. 6 p.m. 6 p.m.
Okay, so
and what's from the rishis? You should not be surprised by that. They too have got a flavor of Krishnamurti teaching. That is the essence. So please.
This coming Sunday, 10th, we have Swami Chidanand. He is going to talk on some words of the rishis, and do not be surprised to find the flavor of Krishna's teachings in them. So Dinesh, you are most welcome to join. Maybe you'll find something. You are all welcome to join.
Thank you, Dubeji.
You're all welcome to join.
Dubeji, Waghmare is advised to join it by mobile and computer.
Why? I don't know.
The mobile and computer both. The way Kamlesh Modak does it.
Oh, okay. I don't know. He can join any way he wants. Thank you. Okay. Good night.
Thank you. Thanks. All are requested to come, please.
Thank you, sir.
Please close, Modak.